Mass-market ice cream, despite its nostalgic charm and overwhelming popularity, is one of the most deceptively indulgent ultra-processed foods lining grocery store freezers. Brands like Haagen-Dazs, Ben& Jerry's, and Breyers project a sense of comfort, premium quality, and pleasure, often even an image of artisanal craftsmanship. But the truth behind these pints is far colder. Most mass-market ice creams are chemically engineered confections loaded with refined sugar, synthetic emulsifiers, artificial colorings, and ultra-processed dairy and fat blends. What may seem like a harmless treat or childhood favorite is, in reality, a metabolic landmine that contributes to weight gain, insulin resistance, inflammation, gut dysbiosis, and a dangerous normalization of industrialized sweeteners and additives, especially when consumed frequently, as many do. Let's begin with the sugar content, which is astronomical. A single serving of Ben& Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough contains over 30 grams of sugar, but again, that's per serving, and most people eat at least 2 or 3 servings in one sitting, consuming more sugar in one bowl than the World Health Organization recommends for an entire day. Haagen-Dazs flavors like dulce de leche or chocolate chip cookie dough follow suit, often exceeding 35 grams of sugar per half cup. This concentrated blast of refined sucrose and corn syrup rapidly spikes blood glucose and insulin levels, leading to the classic sugar high followed by a crash in energy, mood, and satiety. Over time, repeated insulin surges damage insulin sensitivity, setting the stage for type 2 diabetes, visceral fat accumulation, and chronic fatigue. Beyond sugar, most mass-market ice creams are saturated with emulsifiers and stabilizers designed to maintain a smooth, scoopable texture, even after multiple freeze-thaw cycles in warehouses and home freezers. These include mono and diglycerides, guar gum, carrageenan, polysorbates, and cellulose gum. These aren't food. They're chemical thickeners that mimic the creaminess of real dairy and prevent crystallization. But they come at a biological cost. Studies suggest that emulsifiers, especially polysorbate 80 and carboxymethylcellulose, can disrupt the gut lining, alter gut microbiota, and provoke chronic low-grade inflammation. This can contribute not only to digestive issues like bloating and irritable bowel syndrome, but also to more systemic effects like increased appetite, weakened immune response, and metabolic syndrome. And then there are artificial colors and flavorings, frequently hidden behind ambiguous terms like natural flavor or artificial flavor. Some of the most popular varieties, think Breyers birthday cake, Ben& Jerry's the Tonight Dough, or any neon-hued limited editions, use synthetic dyes like red 40, yellow 5, or blue 1. These additives have been linked to hyperactivity in children, allergic reactions, and potential neurotoxic effects. While Europe now requires warning labels on many of these dyes, the US continues to allow them freely, especially in products targeted at younger consumers. Even the fat content in these ice creams is misleading. While some products still use real cream, many brands, especially lower-cost ones, pad their formulations with cheap oils, milk solids, and butterfat alternatives that mimic dairy richness without the nutritional benefit. These pseudofats are often extracted and refined in industrial settings, and the final product offers minimal satiety while contributing to caloric excess and lipid imbalances in the blood. The mixture of saturated fats and processed sugar also has a uniquely harmful effect on the liver, promoting non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, especially in children who consume ice cream weekly or more. Mass-market ice cream also perpetuates addictive eating behavior, a fact that is not accidental. The combination of sugar, fat, and flavor enhancers triggers the brain's reward center in a manner similar to substances like nicotine or alcohol. This is especially true for hyperindulgent flavors loaded with swirls, chunks, and mix-ins, caramel rivers, brownie bites, cookie dough, and candy pieces, each one a separate vector of hyperpalatability. Ben& Jerry's, for example, openly promotes over-the-top combinations not just as indulgent, but as emotionally necessary, a deeply manipulative form of marketing that links self-soothing with overconsumption. Treat yourself becomes code for numb yourself, especially during periods of stress, loneliness, or emotional dysregulation. This emotional relationship with ultra-processed desserts also sets a dangerous precedent for children and teens, whose developing brains are especially sensitive to dopamine reward patterns. Frequent exposure to mass-market ice cream normalizes dessert as a daily or nightly ritual, not an occasional luxury. And this isn't just about weight gain. It's about metabolic programming, where the body begins to expect these calorie-dense, nutrient-poor foods as part of normal intake. Children raised on a diet that regularly includes ultra-processed ice cream are more likely to experience early-onset obesity, insulin resistance, and behavioral disturbances linked to dietary imbalances. Finally, there's the marketing illusion, the idea that premium brands like Häagen-Dazs or Ben & Jerry's are somehow better or less processed than cheaper competitors. In reality, these products are often just as loaded with sugar, stabilizers, and flavorings, sometimes more so. Fancy packaging, quirky flavor names, and a faux European brand identity, Häagen-Dazs is a completely invented name with no European origin, are marketing devices designed to shield consumers from the industrial nature of the product. They may evoke images of cream, vanilla beans, or slow-churn tradition, but what's inside the carton is still a laboratory-crafted dessert optimized for shelf life, profitability, and repeated craving, not your health. In conclusion, while mass-market ice cream brands like Häagen-Dazs, Ben & Jerry's, and Breyers may offer immediate pleasure, they do so by leveraging a destructive mix of refined sugars, artificial additives, and emulsified fats that undermine human health in insidious ways. They exploit emotional vulnerability, normalize overconsumption, and teach children and adults alike that treating yourself means turning off your body's warning signals. The cost of that indulgence is not just a few extra pounds, but potentially years of cumulative damage to metabolism, gut health, mental clarity, and immune function. True pleasure in food should not come at the cost of chronic disease, and when it does, it's not pleasure anymore. It's quiet harm, masked in sweetness, one spoonful at a time.